Okay, let's look at text. And I know you've been using some text. Okay, so let's look at it a little bit. Text is view specific, meaning that if you put it in here, let's say this. Uh, well, let's go to if we go to a plans. If we go to come on, if we put text here in level one, it is not going to show up in the level one furniture plan. Same way when you're dealing with sections, if we were to take a building section here and we put text leaders or whatever based on this wall, and then we create a call out from that wall to create a larger scale detail, those things are not going to transfer over. Okay, so text is always view specific and it is not parametric, meaning that if you change something about that particular wall, your text leader will not change with it. Therefore, you should always try to use tags and keynotes first, if it's possible, um, like using a wall tag um, instead of a text tag. So we could come in here and tag this wall. Okay. Now the tag is empty right now because this wall tag, and let's look at it. Let's go edit that family. The label for the wall tag is based on the type mark. Okay, and we're we're not so much going to use wall tags in our residential projects, but we will in our commercial project. But if we were to come in here and edit this particular wall, and where's the type mark? If we come down here to the type mark, and it depends on how uh, different companies are going to have different ways of doing it, but we're going to say wall. I'm just going to say wall 6. Okay, so that got tagged W6. Okay. Whereas if we were to come in here and just use a text leader, okay, they take about the same amount of time. But now if we come back and let's say they want to make a change to these walls, instead of these walls between the offices being 4 and 7/8 studs, I think is what they are. Yeah, we're gonna make them, I don't know, 3.5 inch studs. You make that change, well, this will not change, but this will update. Okay, so better to use tags when you can. Now, text should be used for like general notes, specific notes, and specifications. A lot of times you're going to have to add text notes. So if we were to look at text, and we'll go text with no leader, so just general text, um, there are a few sizes already loaded. Okay. Um, Maybe I need to add because we've only got one size in there. So let's look at insert load family. Is there just a text? Nope. So it'd be, oh, I thought, well, I thought there was. So we'll go back. Huh. Well, all right, so we'll skip to the next part here. If we do not like this one, let's duplicate and let's add a quarter inch Arial. Okay, and then down here where it says text size, that's where we set the height of the text. Now this is going to be text height in paper space in your drawing based on the scale of the drawing. Doesn't matter if you put it in a view or on the drawing sheet. Okay, now these other things like the font type, bold, italics, underline, those kinds of things. If you make changes here, it applies to the everywhere this instance of the text is used in your drawing project. That's why you don't want to edit these things. You want to duplicate and give it a new name. All right, so we're gonna tell this one okay. And so let's do some text here. Get my keyboard. I'm going to say general notes. I'm just okay. So let me move this out of the way. Now, keep in mind, this is going to be quarter inch on our drawing. Now, usually when you're going to do like general notes or something, there's a better way than just typing it onto the drawing or the sheet. We would create it in Microsoft Word, then copy and paste it into a legend, and then put that legend onto the drawing sheet. That's the best way to do it. But if we look at this, and when you're in the text command, or you've got this little text menu bar up here, here's where you can make small changes. So if I want my general notes part to be bold, I can do that. And let's say I want these things to be numbered. I can do that. Okay. Maybe a part of my text I want to be italicized or underlined. Okay. So you can make these little changes in a block of text. Okay, so that's one thing. Now let's look at the leaders. Okay, so let's look at leaders here. You've got three different styles: a one segment, a two segment, and then a curved. And within, for any of them, you've got these default attachment points where the leader attaches to the text, and the upper left and the lower right is the Revit default. Not sure why. I personally, I prefer upper right on both of them. But wherever you work, your boss is going to tell you what to use. And then you've got your alignment here, whether everything is aligned with the left margin or the right margin or top, middle, bottom, whatever. So we'll leave those all set at left. Let's go with a single. And you notice this is, let's change to a smaller text. Change back down to that 3/32. That way it'll be a little. And I chose the single. Okay, so there's a single segment leader, and I can drag it around. I could grab it and make it a multi-segment leader. Okay. All right. You can make some changes over here to, your vertical alignment and things like that. Okay. And you can add a leader to it here. It's based on left side or right side. So I'm going to go add a left side straight leader, and you see it just pops it out there, and you could drag it around if you need to add a leader. Okay, so now let's add another one here, and let's make this one a right align single segment. And you notice I get a alignment guide there when I get to the end of that box, middle of the box, arrow point over there. So I'm going to put it there. And you see this is a right leader, and then when I click out of it and close it, and because I made this one text aligned to the right side, it moved everything over to the right. Okay, if I make it text aligned to the left side, well, no change because I've already started this thing, but I could drag that out, and then it adds a horizontal leader to it. Okay, so let's look at the curve. And you notice we get a curved arc, and we can get some alignments there. Okay, and we were still right aligned, okay? But now let's look at this, and if we drag the end of this thing over, we're just increasing the size of the box. It's still right aligned. If we go left aligned, we could use the move tool to get it to align up with there, and see it adds a horizontal leader before the arc. Okay, and now let's look at the 2-point. And so first click is the arrowhead, second click is the second joint, and then typically you're going to go horizontal. This is a 2-segment leader. Okay. All right, so there's several examples. Let's go one more with the text box. And so we'll just stick with that. Let's go to the right side here. And then I'm going to click here. It didn't give me the option to. Let me start over. I'm clicking and dragging over to create a text box. Okay, now you see my box is as long as I drew it, okay? And if I were to make it left align, it'll move my text over to the left and then add, a longer line there. I can adjust the length of my box. So there's lots of adjustment things there. And then of course, I showed you this on adding those. Here's where you would delete a leader if you have, too many of them. And honestly, it depends on where you work. A lot of architects like the arc leader. This is kind of the standard way of doing things historically. A single, it just doesn't look good. Okay, this has a lot better appeal to it. It looks a lot better. Okay, so that's a lot of things on text. Now, if you're doing, if I'm going to say anything other than general notes should be done in the view. Okay, so if you had, you know, I don't know, notes about specific things in here, you would put it in this particular view. On the drawing sheets, that's where you would do bulk text or general notes. Because if you make a change to your drawing model and you've done text on a drawing sheet, it's not going to update. So better to do it in the actual model.